back. And Somit very beautifully put all the reasons why you're seeing that kind of a spike, stock spiking even more while we're having this conversation. What is working for you as far as Bharti is concerned?
Afternoon, Tamanna. I think the news itself, in terms of promoter buying back, that's the biggest trigger that any stock can probably have. And for a behemoth like Bharti Airtel, which probably has a deep footprint now in the domestic ecosystem, both in terms of the domestic wireless business as well as the broadband business that they're expanding into as well, I think that really augurs well. So I think the buyback news and the expectations in terms of promoters actually looking at the stock takes a very positive one for the stock itself from an investor perspective. The second element is also that African operations. I think the huge swap that is probably expected to happen. Again, I think let's understand the model there itself. I think mobile data works as the second best revenue generator. Voice is obviously the biggest one. But the third one is obviously the payment services in Africa as well, which is growing exponentially at 30-35% on an annualized basis. Let's not forget, they run a very asset-light model. The fixed structural expenses are taken care by third parties. The network that they probably use in terms of the shared technological architecture is shared between local partners as well, which makes a base case scenario of margins actually improving going forward as well. In terms of mobile data and the Airtel money business probably moving faster. Therefore, I think with ARPUs expected to go higher on the domestic side, it's firing on all cylinders for Bharti Airtel. It's a clear role from us.
Okay, it's a hold for now. Just want to check with you, Mayuresh, 87% buy recommendations. What is your call in the stock at the current value? Is there a potential upside of 25% as consensus seems to believe?
Afternoon, Alex. So I think if you probably look at the market structure itself, upside in terms of 20 to 25%. So if you go in and buy it aggressively at this point of time, I think you probably need to just average out in terms of tips on this.
Going on, and this is a stock that has borne the brunt of significant selling. It's coming up today and yesterday after quite a while. Would you say that this is a good entry point, or would you give it a miss for now?
So anybody holding should continue holding Cipla, Alex. And again, I think looking forward in terms of the forward-looking statements that the management probably clear out, respiratory products has always been the backbone of Cipla. Post-Revlimid, I think a lot of these frontline pharma companies need substitute formulation, high generic, high branded products to probably get into the market as soon as they can to probably replenish the kind of revenue loss that start coming from the Revlimid sales. And therefore, I think the announcements that they probably done around albuterol and the respiratory products, which has a huge market size and wallet share as well when it comes to North America or the European markets itself, along with one peptide launch that the management probably alluded to. The expectation largely is that all these products are products with a good market size in the first place, good margins in the second place. And therefore, I think there is a significant amount of revenue visibility that starts coming through. Obviously, I think the hit in terms of numbers was more or less expected. The commentary was extremely optimistic from the management itself. And therefore, I think anything holding the stock should continue.
Bearing on Q1 results. So at the very least, you could have an impacted Q1. So would you get in right now? Would you wait for clarity on what the impact because of West Asia will be?
Obviously, one has to wait and then not go by the exuberance by the upper circuit that the stock is in. I'll give you 2-3 reasons, Alex. One, I think as Varsha was pointing out, it's not just ammonia, it's also methanol to a large extent that is imported from Saudi Arabia. And therefore, with the Middle Eastern crisis at play, you're obviously going to get supply chain issues as far as both these key raw materials are concerned. Second, as far as the product mix is concerned, if you look at the traditional setup for both Balaji and alkyl amines, I think the traditional base amines that they probably operate out of, whether it's methylamines or acetate amines, I think the expectations in terms of specialty derivatives, specifically through amino hydrochlorides, that still is around 30% in terms of overall top-line growth. If you probably add in the specialty solvent thing with the acetonitrile plant expected to come up over the next few months, the next few quarters itself, I think that will have margins in the range of 18 to 20%, with amino hydrochlorides having margins of 25 to 30. So I think if they're able to pull this off over a longer period of time, yes, the 20 to 24% margin band is sustainable. However, I think in terms of what happens in terms of supply chain at the current juncture, makes Q1 numbers a little bit circumspect as we speak. And therefore, I think wait and watch the discussion at this juncture. I think the exuberance largely
He had.
and in times when you're seeing uncertainties when it comes to foreign flows and the pressure that has been put in terms of the currency, I think it's a very, very welcome move. But on the other two aspects, one, I think in terms of private capex, which has showed signs of green shoots as we exited Q3. I think there might be some hiccups as we speak, but I was just reading a news article a few minutes back. I think government capex and government spending on infrastructure and other allied activities is still expected to continue in spite of whatever is happening in the Middle East, which gives the private sector impetus in terms of government spending expected to continue quite significantly. And on the taxation issue, though it is contentious, I think investors still look out for what happens in terms of a review on long-term capital gains.
That's a good point. But if anything, Mayuresh, it might actually stem the flow downwards with regard to the rupee and then make it that much more attractive for a foreign institutional investor to consider investing in India. But by the way, news coming in right now, and I would like your opinion on this as well. Coal India. Dealers are indicating that the government offer for sale is set to open soon. This is an interesting update. The stock is down about 1.6%. Let's pull up the intraday chart for Coal India just to talk about what is...
In terms of whatever is happening in the Middle East, I think Coal India probably becomes pivotal in terms of the global growth, at least over the next 5 years as I see it. I think it's pivotal for India's growth story.